Training profession.
Three best friends that anyone could have. Yeah, we're the three best friends that anyone could have.
Welcome, family. This is Footballin'. I'm Ben. He's Spence. And this is Footballin', if I didn't already say that.
This is Footballin'.
This is Footballin'.
What's this here?
This is Footballin'.
Okay.
Yeah. Family, welcome. Newcomers, welcome as well.
What if you're like newcomers? Not yet. It's too soon.
Yeah, you guys. We can't mention you guys yet. You're like rookies. You got to make it past rookie mini camp.
Yeah.
Once you get the tape off the front of your helmet with your name on it, and you get your number on the front of your helmet, then you know you made it.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, you get your tape goes on the front with your name. I assume they still do that. Put your name on the front so everyone knows who you are. It's like wearing a name tag at a meet and greet.
That's so I saw that in a bunch of pictures because obviously rookie mini camp was happening this week.
Do they still do it? Did they say anything? Okay.
But I was like, I thought that was an interesting thing. I'm like, what's the point? Because they don't have in the back of the look at me learning.
The cool thing about it is, so if you look at a Steeler helmet, obviously it has our number right in the middle of the yellow stripe.
Right.
And that's kind of like like you made it. When you take the name tag off and put your when the number gets put on there by the equipment guys, then it's like,
okay,
yes, now I'm official. You know, it's funny because that was one of Heinz's funniest things. Like even towards the end of Heinz's career, he would put tape on his helmet, put Ward on it, like just awesome. At training camp and stuff. It's like, and he just had the mentality like, got to go to work.
Oh, that's why he did it.
Got to work. I mean,
I respect it.
Fun too, but also like letting y'all know like we're all working here.
Yeah, no,
so,
I respect it, man. I always thought it was cool when like players refer to each other by the number. You know what I mean? Like people still call you 7.
Yeah.
You're right. And so I was like, oh, dude, you own that number.
Yeah.
You know, obviously with your career.
7, Roethlisberger, it's a little easier.
Yeah, there's only that.
Yeah, but
not as many syllables to mess up.
That's a little easier. So speaking of Heinz, if you're watching, or if anyone knows Heinz really, really well, I mean, I guess I could send him a text too. But, come on the show, bud. We'd love to have you on here. Love to talk about coaching and all that stuff.
Let's go 86.
Let's do it.
See, that sounded way cooler.
Yeah, let's go 86.
Let's go.
Wody. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we're here.
Yeah, man. It's an exciting episode today because last week we had Will and Jack come on the show.
Captain Jack.
Which
I can't call him Captain Jack anymore because he's not a captain on this team.
He'll get there.
Can you still call him that? I don't know.
I mean, you can call him that.
You can see that dude has every potential to be a captain at some point on this team.
Yes. He was one of those dudes that when I met him, I'm like, you seem like a Steeler to me.
For sure.
I've been a whole bunch of them, and it just felt like, you're in the right spot. Dude
is going to be good, I think. Like I almost forgot about him in the draft. You know, when we picked him, I was like, oh, I remember. Yeah. Like that's a good pick, and I think it's going to be great because he's going to get to learn behind some studs, maybe one of the greatest to ever play the game in TJ. Right. Alex, who's a high motor, high quality, high character guy that is a really good football player as well, and he's all for like learning.
Yeah.
You know, he's not coming in being like, I'm the dude. He's coming in like, yes, I want to be a sponge. Same with Will, but like I want to be a sponge, and I just want to like, how can I be great like you guys? And I don't think it doesn't seem like that'll ever change in him. It seems like he's going to have the work ethic, the desire to be great. And I just think it's awesome to see how like the lineage, right? The pass the baton that at some point TJ has kind of passed it to Alex, right? Because there's some age gap there. Alex is now, you call them Batman and Robin like they are. I think they would look at each other as equals,
sure.
Because Alex has earned that right with TJ. Obviously TJ is the dude, but in terms of respect from TJ to Alex, I think that's been earned, and it'll be fun to watch the evolution of Jack in that role as well, to see at what point is that respect earned from those guys.
Oh yeah,
and he seems like the type that's going to work hard and he's going to get it. Seems like a high motor guy. So just it's going to be fun to watch that growth and all that.
Yeah, you think about the depth in that position because you got Herbig back there too, who's an absolute animal. Right. That I think a lot of people sleep on because you got two number ones up there in TJ and Alex, and then when Herbig gets in there, it's like, oh yeah, that guy's an absolute animal.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's good. That adds depth at a position. TJ's still an absolute stud, and so is Alex, but they both have had some injuries in the past. So it's like now it's. If they do, and hopefully no one gets hurt, but if they do, you have to miss a game or a series or something. It's like the step down is not like this let off. Like,
right.
oh. Now listen, Are we trying to compare them to when TJ's out, it's not a let off? No, but you're saying that, okay, when a dude comes in, it's like, we still got a good chance.
Yeah, you don't have to worry anymore.
No. Yeah, I like it. So I'm excited for that one. So
yeah, you'd mentioned like the willingness to learn and like absorbing the information. I feel like that's across the board in this rookie class, especially the Steelers rookie, like the draft picks that we have that I've seen, at least just through the media. I haven't got to meet any of the other guys, but it just seems like indicative of the entire rookie class. I know rookies kind of come in and say that all the time. They're like, oh yeah, I'm just ready to learn behind
you. But not all do.
Right.
Not all of them do.
But this class feels, I just saw, and I would love to get him on the show, Derek Harmon, the first round draft pick. I just saw his interview. He's like first presser, I think, since being here.
Oh, wow.
Brother, I'm an immediate fan. Obviously in Oregon, he was an absolute stud. But just hearing him talk and obviously gone through some personal stuff that was hard to deal with at the time of his dream coming true. I can't even begin to fathom what that's like, but the way he carried it, at least in that first presser, and his attitude on life, it seems like, dude, I'm buying the jersey. I'm like an immediate fan. He's won me over.
I love it.
So I'm excited to see what these guys do. Because what's rookie minicamp is how long?
Well, Bert, I know you're watching. Get a hold. Let's get Derek on the show, man. Yeah. Come on, what are we doing, Bert? Man. What are you doing? Stop golf and start working, Bert. What are we doing? Act like you got to be at every media scrum. What are we doing? We should get some media passes to get on. Bert, how do we get some media passes, man? What are we doing?
Yeah, come on, Bert. Bert works over there.
I don't know.
He's always just walking. I'm just kidding.
He likes that.
That's my guy.
We love Bert.
That's
Bert's
my guy. I'd love.
But I would love to. I'm about to go check that stuff out because I only saw Will's was the only thing I checked on one of his a short little clip that he did. Because as you know, I don't do the social media stuff, so I don't see all the little things. But I'm excited for this class. We'll have to ask Evan what he probably knows a lot.
Sure.
Our resident Yinzer will have some.
He probably has media passes.
I'm sure he does. He got recognized. He told me the other day at the grocery store. Someone was following him.
That's so funny.
He turned. He's like, "Are you?" He's like, "Yeah." And he came up, shook his hand, and walked away.
Signing autographs, bruh. So I got to get a picture with Chef Evan before he blows up. He starts charging for him.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah,
but no, that was a great show. I mean, people tuned in to watch it, and then obviously Will. It's great getting to. I felt like watching that show, and those of you that tuned in that watched it, if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But I'm sure everyone's watching this show has seen it. But I will tell you this: that both those guys, what you saw in that show was them. It was genuine. Like they both were truly excited to be Steelers. Like what you saw on there when they got drafted, and the genuine emotion was real. And they didn't just talk about it on the show. And like when we got done off camera before and after and talking to them, they were genuinely excited to be drafted to Pittsburgh. And you know, a lot of people say, like I was that way too. Like I just wanted to get drafted.
Sure.
And a lot of people say the right things. But I think for some people, like, man, I would have liked to go on here. But they may don't tell you until you get a few years in the league. Just by talking to them, I felt like they both genuinely wanted to come here.
Oh, yeah,
like
I agree.
I think they were excited to get to the league, but I think they both genuinely were like, please be Pittsburgh.
Right.
So,
I mean, you saw in I don't know what that NFL Networks does it. I don't know what the show's called.
Does, but
it's, I don't know, they follow the rookies, right?
Oh, Hey Rookie or whatever it is. Yeah.
So they both obviously said that in the thing. Now that makes for phenomenal television.
Of course.
Right. But yeah, it did feel like, man, I just want to get drafted, but it'd be really cool if it was, Pittsburgh, dude. Yeah. And man, what a way to play out. And I love that time of year. I love draft season, man, because I love seeing these young kids like get their dream, like they work their whole lives to get that phone call, man. And like, I just think that is such an awesome thing to witness for anybody that's, pursuing anything. So we're like, dude, watch it pay off here, man. Watch the hard
raw
work.
Emotion too.
I love it.
When you get the real, like when mom and dad are crying and
what was that like for you, man?
Well, I was in the draft. I was in the green room.
So did you feel like you had to like be cool because you had like hella cameras everywhere?
Well, so it was a lot different. I mean, I think it's much bigger now than it was when I was there. And when I was there, I was like the last one in the draft room, like in the green room.
Really?
This was back then when there only took like 5, 6, 7 guys there. It wasn't like
the whole thing.
30 guys are at the. And so, I was the one that was just kind of still sitting there by myself, my family, just like, okay, like what's gonna happen? Because the 11th pick, like,
yeah.
At that time, it was like the first 5 picks went. Like you knew who the first 5 or 6 guys were, and I'm telling you, that's all it was. And guys were. It wasn't like it wasn't a big production like it is now. I mean, it was a big thing, but it wasn't like it is now. And so, yeah, I was kind of that first one. I know Aaron did it the year after me, where it was like they made a big deal about him still sitting around. The same way, man, just sitting there. And it's like, well,
what's that like?
It was crazy.
Because what were you slated to? Because you have all those conversations beforehand, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was we really thought it was going to be number 4 to New York.
Really?
And then when they did the whole swap and trade and this, that, and the other, then it was like, okay, we don't really know what's next. Maybe Buffalo, I think, was at 13 or 15, somewhere down the road. And then we were not expecting the call at 11 when the Steelers were on the clock. Like, the phone rang at your table, and you're like, oh.
Really?
Is that the wrong?
I think they got the wrong
John's? What are we doing?
Hey, man, better ingredients, better pizza.
Donato.
Better draft pick.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, now it's like there's so much going on. You got the dog jumping on people. You got girlfriends trying to get in the picture. Guys are like, get off me, girl.
Which is such a great.
So there's always something funny going on. So, but truthfully, like, it felt like both those guys were genuinely excited. And I'm not saying the other guys weren't, but those are guys that we had on here that we were able to talk to and be around.
Well, and the running back, man, with Caleb Johnson, again, I've only seen what y'all have seen as far as what the media releases. Seems like another great kid, man. Like you said, high motor. Like they want to play. They want to play hard. They're eager to learn. And I think it's been cool too, because it's like, I think Coach T for a lot of these guys is like the great, like, unknown. He's like, oh, man, that's Coach Tomlin. And so you get to walk into a bunch of people's resumes, to where it's like, dude, that's that guy.
Yeah.
And I get to go learn under that guy, to where there's a immediate. I think it'd be hard to walk into the Pittsburgh Steelers right now and with not a chip on your shoulder, but with like a level of arrogance.
Yeah.
Because
you would think.
You got Cam there, you got TJ there, like you said, Alex there, Coach T. A lot of those coaching staff is like, that's that guy. That's that guy right there.
Yeah, and you walk in, it's always something too. When you walk in, you see the Lombardis right away. But it's been a while since we've done anything, so I think there's got to be a level of like, I need to be the reason that this changes. Yes. I need to be the reason that we get to the playoffs and that we win a playoff game, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, man, me too. So let's do this. We can jump into a beer. We're going to do beer roulette again because we're cleaning out the fridge here.
Keep cleaning.
So again, we have 4 fridges, 3 shelves. I will need 2 numbers for you, and I'll go grab the beer, and then I'll punch in and give you the tight frame so you can speak to the people.
All right, let's go 4-1.
4-1. All right, here you go.
4-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Roethlisberger. If you're just listening,
brought to you by.
If you're just listening to this on Spotify, that made no sense because it was a camera cut.
You'll get nothing. You got nothing. No, this episode brought to you by our good friends at Conley and Brian Drinking Buddies. When you need a buddy to have a beer with, you call Conley Brian Buddies, and one of the
2 buddies,
great buddies, will show up at your door and have a beer with you. Okay. That's the end of my commercial. They didn't pay for a long enough segment. No, we do have. We're bringing back the top 7 this week.
That's right.
We don't have a lot to talk about, to be honest. We're going to hit on a top 7, which is very random.
Is it?
It is a little. In my opinion, it was very random. We're going to talk a little bit about the obvious big Steeler news this past week, which is actually old news now because it happened right after our last show.
Right.
George Pickens to the Cowboys.
Right.
Bart is overly excited about that because he's a diehard Cowboys fan. And then maybe the schedule release tomorrow.
Right. We already got a little info.
A little bit of that, which I knew earlier, but I didn't tell anybody.
What do you know? No, you probably got, brother, you probably got info.
No, that's it. That's all I had.
Come on. Give us the goods.
And no, I don't have anything. I got nothing. That's all I had.
Yeah, okay. Well,
and I forgot about it. I was told not to tell anybody, and I forgot.
Well, let's jump into this beer. You know what? I think this is the one we liked. We've done this one before, I'm confident. But I tried to get the one, I thought it was the one we didn't like.
Oh, that's nice.
I tried to set you up.
See what he does. See what he does in the family.
Well, it's been a while, man. You got people over here sending you delicious IPAs. This is,
what is it?
The Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I wanted the stout. 8.2.
This one's 8.2?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little caramely. It's a little delightful.
Yeah, man.
It's not. I mean, for 8.2, it doesn't.
That's how they get you with these ones. They make it smooth. They make it drinkable.
It's good. I would. You know what I would do with that?
What's that?
I would call Conley and Brian friends.
Hey, when you need a buddy or two. Well, you can pick two.
You can bring both.
You just
don't ask your one friend to make a black and tan.
Yeah, one of those
can't do that.
One of those guys is unable to do it.
No, this is good. Yeah, you're right. We had this.
Before we got going, and I was setting all this stuff up, I was talking to you about a Netflix show, and that I found very interesting. It actually influences our Seven's top 7, but it was one that my wife turned me on to. She'll find these like random shows on Netflix, and Court of Gold is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like a docuseries that follows Olympic basketball, the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris.
Okay.
All right. Now, it's obviously the American team. It follows them, but you also get insight to a lot of the NBA players that played for other countries. And it's really interesting. And you get to watch a lot of the times these players going to see the other Olympic events. And something that stood out to me as I'm watching it, because you had like KD in the stands cheering while Simone Biles was like doing that legendary run.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that like KD's like being a fan like we were when we were watching it? And it's always interesting to me what professional athletes see when watching other professional sports. So I thought it would be indicative based upon my selfish level of interest.
Mm-hmm.
What are Seven's top 7 top Olympic sports to watch?
Okay. Well, I'm curious about that basketball one. Were they trying to compare the two teams?
Yes. So yeah, very interesting point, because there's that what happened a lot during the actual Olympics, and they highlight it. And I'm only a couple episodes into this, but they highlight it in this as well, because obviously you had the Dream Team in '92, I believe it was, and this team. And the argument is that this team was more talented than the Dream Team, right? And now if you look at this team, the caliber of player that you got from the NBA was insane. I mean, to the point where I think Anthony Edwards was on the bench for the majority of the Olympic run.
It feels like it's the same argument to Jordan versus LeBron. Like, it feels like that's what we're trying to do.
Yes. And
let's find a different way to argue
Do you think that's a valid argument, the Jordan versus LeBron stuff?
Yeah, I think they're both phenomenal basketball players.
But do you think you can even argue it? Because it feels like you're not talking about the same game. They didn't play the same.
No, I know. I mean, I would argue that Wilt Chamberlain was the most dominant player for,
sure.
You know, I mean, what he was able to do. But again, different eras. Now, I would say this too, because I feel like, didn't the Dream Team like blow everybody out?
I mean, it was.
I don't remember, but I feel like they blew people out.
Well, there is, and I should have watched this one. I got really interested on the trailer of this other show where there was like, they brought in a bunch of like college players to play the Dream Team, and they like wiped the floor with them or something in a practice.
Yeah.
But I didn't dive into that, but I think that's also on Netflix.
So I guess my thought would be this: my questions, and I haven't watched this episode, but what I would say is, what I don't remember, obviously, because in '92 I was much younger. Much younger, man. I feel like that Dream Team beat up on everybody pretty good. Maybe they didn't, but I wonder if the caliber of maybe to the show's argument, like, were there other NBA players that played on other teams, other countries, like there are today? Like today, there's a lot of Europeans and other players that play in the NBA, so that every team, you know, Joker and Luka, and I mean, I can't even name them all. There's so many. Wembanyama, Victor. So back then, I don't remember. Maybe the caliber wasn't as good.
Sure,
that's what they're arguing and whatever. But listen, that Dream Team was something ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing to play with. For sure. I mean, they definitely earned the title of the Dream Team, but that is their primary argument, is that the competition that the 2024 team played is significantly better. You get that really talented kid that was in OKC playing for Canada. Forgot his name. But yeah.
SGK or whatever?
Yes, SGA. I know the initials. I don't know the Shy something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do have all these overseas markets producing really high caliber NBA players. Now they go play for their country. It's like,
yeah, but how good is a country when they have like one dude? I mean, they have. I'm not saying one dude, but you know,
like one superstar for sure. When we have superstars,
it's
on the
an
bench.
argument, but it's something that it's the sports debate for all times. Who's the greatest of this? Who's the greatest of all time? There's no way to really tell because generational things are different. Guys are bigger, faster, stronger. The game's different. There's no way to really say without a shadow of a doubt that this person is the best of all time.
With AI, I think we can probably figure something out.
Figure it out. So,
all right. Yeah, so what are your top 7 favorite Olympic sports? It can be summer, winter, whatever. Doesn't matter. Olympic sports to watch.
Okay, so I put before I get to my top 7, I have 2 kind of caveats in there. Okay. So I love like archery and some of the rifle, like the shooting stuff. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm a hunter and I like to do that stuff. The problem with watching it is they're so good, they like rarely ever miss.
Sure.
And so it kind of isn't as much fun because it's just like boring bullseye, boring bullseye, boring bullseye.
From 300 yards.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool and everything, but it's hard to watch it for a long period of time. Shooting, same thing. And they take so long. They sit there and it just takes forever. Anyway, so that's my caveat with that. I think it'd be great if they had like, you weren't a pro, like they got amateurs to do it, because then it's like he hit the whole target. So that's my caveat with the shooting. And then basketball, which everyone knows I love basketball. I'm not a huge fan of watching basketball though. I like college basketball, but the NBA it's just a 3-point fest. It's just not as much fun to me to watch. Like right now, I'm watching the playoffs a little bit. If it's on, if I'm not doing anything, I'm like, I'll put it on, but I'm not glued to the TV. So in that sense, like Olympic basketball, I'm only watching it if the U.S. is playing. And even then, I'm only watching it like if it's a good game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it feels like the U.S. blows people out a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just not as much fun. So those are my 2 caveats of why those 2 did not make my top 7.
So basketball's not on my top 7. Oh my, good for you, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's just how.
Well, now I'm intrigued. What's that? Well, I'll wait till and I'll ask questions after. Go ahead.
Okay. My number 7 is equestrian.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
I love the ride, and it's just fun to watch. Yeah, I'm not like glued to it for hours, but when it's on, I will definitely watch it.
You dress up and watch it?
No.
Big fan?
No, I put my cowboy hat on. They don't do Western. It'd be great if they did rodeo.
Dude.
Brazil would win a lot.
Why wouldn't they? Well, how's that not? What is the qualification? I'll ask all these questions after.
I don't know. All right, how it works. Number 6 for me is soccer. But only when the U.S. is playing.
Football.
I'm not watching just any soccer.
Okay.
I'm watching when the U.S. is playing, so I can sit there and root for the U.S. to play soccer.
Yeah, those other countries really, really good at it.
Really good at it, but I don't care that much about that. I don't really care about the sport that much, period.
A lot of running around. My son, Bodie, loves it. He doesn't ever get tired. Jeff Dyer thinks it's the greatest sport of all time. He's crazy. But anyway, so I will watch the U.S. when they play soccer. Okay.
Next, number 5, I put swimming, but like the sprints. I don't want to watch them go back and forth 50,000 times.
Right.
Like a lot of the sprints. Or if you got a guy like when Phelps was swimming, or you got Katie Ledecky, like those people, like it's so much fun to watch them try and break world records and this kind of stuff. So when the swimming's on, it's cool to watch.
Yeah.
The finals too, because sometimes it seems like there's a lot of semis and prelims and all that. Give me the finals. Right. I'm watching.
High stakes.
Yes. Number 4, which is a new sport, but it is fun to watch because I love it, is golf.
Oh yeah.
It is kind of fun to watch that. This last year was awesome. Scotty coming back and winning was crazy. Number 3 for me is gymnastics, and win the U.S. again. Yeah. When our that's the guys do too, but with the girls, they're the ones that dominate. So it's so much fun to watch. Like you said, KD. I mean, every time that you watched the Olympics this year and you saw the girls, I don't know if they had a dream team. They were like, they're called the dream team, but they're the Olympic team. There were so many people in the stands, right? Like actors, musicians, athletes. Everyone was tuned in just like us. So it was fun to watch them as well. Number 2, I put volleyball.
Easy.
Men's and women's. Yes, especially when the U.S. is playing, but it's just the athleticism is just crazy. We talk about it a lot on the show. And my number 1 is track and field.
Really?
And specifically the sprints.
Yeah.
Quicker stuff. The 100, when Usain Bolt was running the 100, and when Michael Johnson was doing like the 2, 4, 800, like that kind of stuff, like the sprinty things, the fast paced things are fun to watch. So that's my list.
That's a solid. Yeah, the running's always. I mean, I thought that the other day because when I was watching that show, they showed when Lyles won it by 100,000th of a second or something crazy, lean forward, and I'm like, man, that's the most like competitive, me versus you, nothing in the way.
Let me see all that. Let's go.
Let's go
race.
100%. Like, let's see.
Let's
prove it. I think that about wrestling too, like Olympic style wrestling.
Yeah.
Like if you're a competitor and it's like, all right, if you're the baddest dude here, let's just go. Yeah. It's me versus you.
Anyway.
Why I like boxing.
Yeah. Boxing. Yeah. And I don't mind boxing just because I like UFC.
Yeah.
Boxing gets a little slow sometimes.
Sure.
Right. Because comparatively, right?
It's
UFC
chess.
is just, yes, no doubt about it.
Yes.
By the way, you see Manny Pacquiao's coming out of retirement?
What?
To fight for a
who?
belt of some sort?
Isn't he a governor?
Like 40. Yeah, he might be the president of somewhere. I don't know.
The Philippines?
Yeah, something crazy.
Who's he fighting?
I don't know. Again, I don't know that much about boxing. I just saw that he was coming out of retirement.
I like Manny Pacquiao.
I thought Manny was awesome.
He was when he was doing it. That boy was lethal.
So anyway.
What's that one Olympic sport when you ski and
badminton? Oh.
Yeah.
When you have to ski and then shoot. Yeah.
What is that called?
Probably like some kind of cross country shooting.
And how'd that get into the Olympics before like skateboarding, you think?
Well, you're a skateboarder, I'm not. So I don't think skateboarding belongs in.
Yeah. What? Bro, those athletes are ridiculous. You ever fall downstairs on purpose? That takes an athlete to get up.
No, but I have slid down a rail before on my bum.
That's close. You're basically one of us. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, that's just not me. I'm just me. Like surfing, I don't.
Do you consider, well, I don't want to put you in trouble here, but I'm curious. Do you consider extreme sport athletes?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they're incredibly athletic.
But skating and surfing is such a global sport that it has really good representatives all over the world.
How do you know how long? And I don't know this answer. I'm just asking the question because I'm just and I may be backfiring my own. How long has skateboarding been a thing?
Oh, I mean, I think it rose to popularity like in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
Like really like. But
to me that would like to me if you're talking about the Olympics,
sure.
Which you'd argue golf, but golf's been around for a long time. So like certain sports like shooting and cross country skiing. That's why I guess that cross country skiing and shooting thing like that feels like I'm sure they weren't doing that back in like Greco-Roman days because there were no guns. But the fact of the matter is like that's to me like what makes the Olympics. And there's a bunch of sports that soccer. I'm trying to think like what hasn't been around forever, but just like I'm saying
pickleball?
Some sort of
is pickleball in it?
Is it? I don't think it is yet.
I don't know.
It might be badminton.
I totally. It's like a legacy sport.
Yes, a little bit.
And I'm probably wrong.
Breakdancing, to me, is breaking.
Breaking got you telling me breaking deserves it more?
No, it does not.
Oh, okay.
No, that's my point. It does not deserve to be. So that's
an interesting conversation because to me, breaking feels like an art form and not a sport, though it's very physical.
Well, then you should put ballet or tap in.
I could probably make it for tap. Fancy toes. Oh, happy feet over here.
No, I'm not. And I'm not calling breaking people.
No, it's awesome.
They're very athletic.
Yes. It's awesome, but you're talking like, hey, wrong context.
That's in my opinion, yes.
Yes.
And I watched it. I mean, that was all we were
glued. What's her name? Ray Gun?
So anyway, I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel.
Do you think breaking stays in? Or was that the first year breaking was in?
It was the first year.
And do you think they were like, give it a little trial run? Hey, turns out, now we're not going to do this.
I don't know.
See, I think skateboarding makes sense. I think and surfing. I think that makes sense because of the popularity it has globally.
Okay.
Because that's the argument. It's like, oh man, who's the best at this?
Yeah, in the world. I'm not disagreeing with it. I just don't. It doesn't. In my mind, if I was going to argue this compared to this, it doesn't make sense as much to me.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like for me, like I'm not even sure football.
Is football in the Olympics?
It's going to be. I think that this next one is the first time it's in. I think.
Are NFL players allowed to play in the?
I don't know.
And would you? You've played in the NFL.
I have played in the NFL. I mean,
would you to
have the opportunity to win a gold medal?
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that's like that class is like
different echelon.
Tiny,
And so
I would. You know what I would do if I'm probably that they would never ask me to play in the Olympics in football for the U.S. But I do have Swiss roots. So I mean, if the Switzerland decides they want to have a team and they either need a coach or quarterback, I'd consider.
You want an Uncle Rico videotape? We'll
see that mountain? See that Swiss mountain over there? Did a ball right over that Swiss mountain.
Just grab one of these cameras. We'll do a little audition tape. That would be awesome, bro. I do think the Olympic ecosystem, as far as like the competition, is some of the most electrifying time of year of like that we get as sports fans. But yeah, football. What are they going to do for football then? Is it because it's a? I don't know. Is it just straight to the playoffs? Flag football. I was going to say.
Maybe. I truly am not. This is awful. I don't even know.
Because what if you ruin? Like you get injured, you ruin your career.
Yeah.
You're dying your shield out there, bro.
That would not be good.
Yeah.
Just telling you.
It would be electrifying to watch, though.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
Okay, that's a good 7-stop-7, man. Let's jump into what we haven't even talked about this, but I think it's why most people are clicking on this video or this podcast. George Pickens gets traded to the Dallas Cowboys for what seemed like a bag of gummy bears and a Slurpee. Like it felt like what we got in return, like what we got, or what we got in return, excuse me, was not indicative of his talent level.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I feel like I have a lot to say, but none of it probably is, and it's all just a bunch of jumbled thoughts in my head.
Sure.
None of it is anything I don't know one way or another. I haven't talked to anybody about it. This would just be like all the different, like when it happened, I'd be like, these are all the things since it's happened that have come in my head. Maybe one of them makes sense. Maybe none of them make sense, but like, they're obviously, well, I shouldn't say, see, it obviously means obvious, like that's apparent, and that's not the right
clearly.
I wonder,
yeah,
it's probably a better way. Is he a bigger headache than we even know? Yeah. Obviously, we saw last year there were some issues. Coach Tomlin even kind of came out for the first time, I think, in a long time, and kind of criticized a player, saying he needs to grow up
publicly. Yeah,
publicly. Was there a more headache there than we even know about? Again, these are all just my things. These are going to be all over the place. Okay.
Yeah.
He had this year left on his contract, right? So he becomes then they can franchise him next year. But after this year, you have no leverage to get anything for him.
Sure.
So if you know you're moving on from him, now's the time to do it, and the only chance you're going to get something for him. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, he's not our long term. We're not going to pay two, and if we keep him, well, now we're going to have to pay him a lot of money,
right? Or
someone else is going to grab him, and we're not going to pay two of our two receivers a ton of money. You're just not going to do that. Are they thinking of the future? Not right now. Which, again, these are all just thoughts. I wouldn't think so, because you don't only have so many years with TJ and Cam and what you have. But
right.
Is this more of a we're building for the future type thing? Are they trying to build up draft capital for next year to move up in the draft?
Sure.
You just picked up 2 picks. Now one's this next year, one's the year after. In my head, I'm thinking like, okay, the draft's in Pittsburgh next year. Can they find a way without losing? Obviously you want to try and win, but winning this year, but still using draft capital to get like a top 10 pick next year in Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Like, I know everyone's talking about next year as a big quarterback class, but I'm hearing rumors that like Arch Manning is not coming out.
Really?
Like he's staying. So he's, take that. Maybe the draft class next year isn't as good as people think.
Depends how much that NIL check is.
There's a lot of questions out there still. So those are all things that have just been going through my head. The timing did seem a little weird. It seemed like they couldn't get much for him. Maybe that's all that was offered. I mean, It's not like they were like, okay, we're going to send him to Dallas. And, even though these other deals offers were better, we're going to send him to Dallas because we want to go to Dallas. Like that obviously was the best offer they got. So that either speaks on teams not really sure, or being like, you know what? No, we'll wait till next year when he's a free agent. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of thoughts. But to me, it just seems like the Steelers were over it. I mean, I think that's at the end of the day, it feels like that's the biggest thing. They were over it. They weren't willing to go one more year and see what he can do on the field with those 2 receivers on the field.
Right.
And be like, at the end, we'll take our chances with all the headaches that we could potentially get this year. And then at the end of the year, go on.
Yeah, that was the challenging thing too, I think, for the fan base, is that when we locked in DK, it was like, we are going to be unstoppable. Finally, we have this offense, man. When you got weapons like that on the inside, then or on the outside, and you got weapons like Pat, you got Darnell Washington, you got running backs that you feel good about. The O-line is gaining maturity. You're like, throw Mason in there. We have a legitimate chance here. And then now we have quarterback uncertainty, and now you get rid of one of the guys. We're like, dude, we didn't even get to see these 2 in the same room together.
Mm-hmm. No, what are we doing? It would have been so much fun to see those 2 receivers on the field and to be like, oh,
right.
Like, this is awesome.
And we'll never, what if? But I will say, to your point, it does seem, just based upon everything that I'm reading, that it is just one of those things where, like, listen, he didn't want to be here. We didn't really want him here. Freak athlete, but man, y'all saw it. Like, you don't need me to come out and say it. I am curious though, like on the day-to-day, what that looks like for a team when you have a guy who's crazy talented but is running into maybe some maturity issues or some character things, or maybe maybe it's not even like a character, like you have a negative character. Maybe it's just a lack of self-control. Yeah. Maybe it's that. What does that look like on a day-to-day? And maybe you don't know the answer as far as coaching, because I look at Coach T. He's a phenomenal leader of men. I remember he went on RC's podcast and said a beautiful quote. It's like, I don't run from coaching, I run to coaching. And I think you have evidence of that in a lot of, or just throughout the course of his career. What does it look like day to day to coach a guy with that talent with those issues?
Yeah, it's got to be tough. And obviously, I don't know him personally, George.
Yeah,
it's got to be tough. I think it's frustrating because you see the talent and you're like, man, this could be a beautiful relationship, and then all of a sudden it's like there's a headache that presents itself, and you're like, oh, here we go again. And again, I'm not speaking on George because I don't know him, but I think sometimes you're willing to look past the headache because of what they bring on the football field. And I think Coach was trying to nip it in the bud before it got out of control by making the comments and telling them this is what needs to happen, and maybe they just realized that it wasn't ever going to change, and so they're like, it's time to get something for him. It's our last opportunity to get something for him. We might as well make the most of it and see what we can use in the future. So, it's not an easy thing. And in terms of the locker room, I'm sure it's kind of split a little bit. Again, not being in the locker room with him, I don't know, how guys really are feeling towards him personally. But there's no doubt, and you can't deny the on the field abilities. And so if you're looking at, man, he gives us a chance to win, then you're like, that's what we need that. But is it worth the headache in the locker room? Again, if I'm not in the locker room to know exactly what that was, then I think the locker room is probably split on the feeling of it.
And then the other thing is, what does that do for Dallas, right? So now you have a team we got CeeDee Lamb over there still, right? So you got him, you got now GP over there, and who's their tight end? Their tight end was pretty decent.
Is it Schultz, or is that a different guy?
I don't remember who I'm thinking of. But the more significant factor is that you have a stable quarterback. It's going to be the first time. And
was he was injured, right? Or is he healthy last year? They lost. I feel like I was here complain about.
Well,
it's going to be interesting because I don't know where you're going with the question, but like CD is the man.
Right.
So George is number 2. He didn't like even being here last year as the number 1 guy. Like didn't get the ball enough. What's going to happen?
But how much of that frustration came from either scheme? Obviously, we had reports of Arthur Smith and Russ not seeing eye to eye. What's happening here? Are we like, dude, just pick a lane? Who cares?
Yeah.
And then the quarterback inconsistency. Who's throwing me this ball, man?
Well, there's a decent chance because of the offense that Dallas runs and the way they move the ball around and Dak's throwing the ball that George can have more catches as a number 2 than he did as number 1 here.
Sure.
Very good chance. More yards, more everything. So that maybe he's looking at it as like, this is an awesome opportunity for me.
And I think it's a good reset for a young man too, who obviously have frustrations with an organization, regardless of what the scale of those things. But when you say that, it makes me think of the year Juju had under AB. Juju, when you got AB in the field, hey, throw 3 guys on him. We'll just figure the rest of this stuff out, right? And then Juju pops off. The connection you guys had that year was insane.
Right? Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that whole dynamic plays out. You're going to want to watch it because you're going to see the same blow ups, the same things. I thought too, Coach Tomlin used the term "grow up," after that Cincinnati game, and in George's first press conference there, he used the word "growing up" 5, 6, 7 times.
Do you think it was? I don't know. Was it a low key slight, or was it like a, all right, man, listen, this is a moment in life where I get an opportunity to change the way my legacy, way that people perceive me, your reputation.
I don't know. Yeah. But the way, it was just like he said, I need to grow up. We all need to grow.
That's funny thing about time.
Seems like it was a little bit of a
funny thing about how time works, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been growing up since I was born.
Yes,
you know,
just always growing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Again, this is kind of old news to Steelers fans because it happened a while ago. But again, the only thing I can think of is that this is the last chance they had to get anything for him.
Sure.
Which tells me that they didn't care about this season in the sense of like let's put all the weapons on the field we can. Like
interesting.
I don't know. Again, that's just all thoughts, just wonders.
Yeah. I mean,
because you're still wondering what's going on at quarterback. We still haven't made an announcement for our starting. I mean, I know it's Mason, but we don't know. You got it?
God damn, man. Come on, man.
Because, coming out tomorrow too is the schedule release.
That's right.
That's coming out tomorrow. I'm wondering how much pressure, and I don't even know if they can, but how much pressure is the NFL putting on the team? Someone like we would like to know what's going on with Aaron. Because no offense to anybody else, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are much more prime time with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback than they are with any of the quarterbacks we have on our roster at quarterback. Mm-hmm. We play the Green Bay Packers this year.
Yep.
That's a much bigger story with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. Is that a 1 o'clock CBS game? Or is that a Thursday night, Sunday night, 4:15 primetime game?
Right.
We played the Jets this year. Mm-hmm. If Aaron's a Pittsburgh Steeler, that's a quarterback swap game. That game looks a lot more interesting in primetime than it does at 1 o'clock on CBS with the B team calling that game.
Right.
Okay.
With us live streaming it.
Yeah, us live streaming that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a different animal.
100%.
So what does that look like? I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, you can go to. I guess potentially they could make it end of the season and have it flex schedule capable. But I just think that at some point you got to figure it out because when that schedule comes out, I would love to do it. I'd love to do it like a. I wish you could do like a go back in time because if they did the Steelers schedule as is right now, there would be a lot of 1 o'clock games. Just being honest.
Okay.
And if Aaron was on this team, if Aaron was on this team, just Aaron, no George Pickens, you're gonna see those 1 o'clock games a lot less. More 4:15, some prime timers. If you had George too,
sheesh, yeah,
a lot of prime.
That's what they did the first year he was on the Jets.
A lot of prime timers.
You got stuck. Then
you had to watch that.
Then you had to watch. I don't even know who.
So they may end up doing a half and give some just in case.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe Aaron's going to announce something today.
Come on, is this something you know?
No, I don't know. But I'm just saying maybe. That would just.
But the way you said it,
feels like that's what Aaron would do. Like,
the way you said it
right before the release, I'm out so that we can just bang, bang,
right.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I've asked this question 1,000 times. I know you still don't know the answer, but I don't know. The closer we get, is the context change at all? When do you have to have an answer? Because I would imagine, regardless of your talent level, your proficiency at the quarterback position, you got to learn this offense, bro.
Listen, I was going to mention that too, so I'm just letting.
You texting Aaron? What's he saying?
Aaron, hey,
bud.
Hey, Aaron, do you want to FaceTime and tell us what you're going to do?
Hey, bud, you want to break in on this show?
So yes, I think to me that's a much bigger deal. Is him getting here to learn the offense,
right?
Unless he's sitting at home with the playbook. Right? Maybe he's told them. Maybe there's some sort of a.
Yeah. Are you allowed to do that? What are the rules?
Yeah, I mean, you could. It would be dumb of the Steelers to do, but you could do it. Like,
could we get anybody's playbook? Could you get anybody's playbook right now? Like, hey, I'm thinking about coming back. Can I? Let me see it. Chicago
wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
most teams wouldn't.
But you could. Like it wouldn't be against rules.
No, I don't think it's against any rules. Yeah. It's up to the team if they want to do that or not.
Okay.
But my thing is Aaron's played in a West Coast system, forever, and this is not a West Coast. From what I've been told, it's not a West Coast system. Like that's verbiage, that's terminology. Now Aaron is an incredibly smart young man. Not young, he's an incredibly smart man.
He's one of the older ones, I think.
Yeah, he is actually really old. He's an incredibly smart man. So do I think he could pick it up? Absolutely. But there's also something to be said about being on the field with guys at practice to see how guys run routes, to do things, to communicate, to let them hear your voice in the huddle, to hear your cadence, to hear your audibles. All that stuff. The coach and you need to get on the same page so that when coach is calling plays, he knows what you like and don't like, and then when you're changing things, he understands why you're changing it and what you're changing it to. To me, that's a much, much bigger deal. Not the fact that Aaron can play the game. He can throw the ball. He can do whatever he needs to do. Like, I'm not doubting Aaron's physical talents. But getting on the same page with guys that you've never played with before, that's a big deal. And an offense you've never been. If this was his offense that he'd been in before, then I'd be like, not a big deal.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is an offense that he doesn't know anything about, it's a big deal, man. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And what are the odds that if it's like in the 11th hour, they're like, all right, switch the offense to this guy? What is the toll?
I don't think you can do that.
Or to some extent, instead of calling this that, call it whatever this guy says.
It'd be to me, it'd be ludicrous to change your whole offense for the quarter. Like that these guys have been running and learning and doing for this one guy. I couldn't ever imagine that happening. That'd be mind blowing to me.
Rather just, and like you said, Aaron's, quick. He could pick it up.
Super smart. I don't doubt that he wouldn't figure out the offense and it'd be just fine. But there's one thing about sitting in a playbook and knowing the playbook, and there's another thing about putting it onto the field.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, man. And has the city, after, you get to see Will throw the ball sometimes, like, does the city like, no, we're good on it?
I don't know. I haven't.
The
pulse of the town. I don't know what that's like right now, where they're at with it. I think there's still some people holding out hope. I think some people are probably like, you know what, let's just go. If he doesn't want to, like, if he wanted to be here, he would have been here.
Sure.
Now I think he said on Pat's show, didn't he say that he's dealing with some like personal issue or not personal issues,
but he's got family stuff or something. Yeah.
I heard someone at some point said that he maybe had they had a ring on his finger. Maybe he's getting married. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
He's just living some life.
Who knows?
Congratulations, maybe.
If that's it, who knows? But I think let the man figure out what he's got to do and go from there.
I will say about this decision, I do respect the fact that football seems to be second. I respect that, to where a man who's like, you know what, I have other stuff in life that I'm doing. I'll get to it.
And I would totally agree with you. And I would say that I think that's where some fans are frustrated because they're like, and I've heard it, they said it to me like, well, no, the football needs to be a priority. And I think it is a priority to him, but you're right. Family or whatever he's got going on is important. But, I think that at some point people would like to get an answer before too long.
Oh, no, 100%. I agree with you. But and you've said
maybe the Steelers would like an answer. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't.
Maybe, I don't know. They'll figure it out. But you've said this as long as I've known you, but it's if football is not the first thing, it will frustrate everybody who it is the first thing for.
For sure.
Right. But if it's just a game, then you can't treat players as if they're just players. Yeah. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If it's more than that, then so are they.
Yes.
And so I think you have to respect, well, at least I do. You don't have to do anything. You can live your life however you want. You know what I mean? I don't care. But I respect the fact that if that's what's happening, it's like, I want to get I'm 40 whatever. Or is he? 40s?
Yeah, he's only a year. I think he's 42. 41, 42, yeah.
Yeah, good for him, man. I respect at least that. Other than that, well, here's that answer.
So that being said,
cool, man. So I do want to talk about another quarterback that you alluded to, or at least referenced in previous episodes, who just retired.
Yes.
But let's get into this other second beer.
Okay.
So 2 numbers.
2-1.
2-1. All right. Here, you can do another fake ad read.
Okay. This commercial is brought to you by Brian Materials.
There you go.
When you need stone, any kind of stone, call Brian Materials. They'll be there on a Jiffy, in a triaxle, or even Justin's truck bed. Whatever you need, they'll find a way to get it for you. That's it. Brian Materials. I'll send you my bill, Justin.
That's hilarious. That's a real company.
Yeah, I know.
That you should use. You should totally use that for all of your billing needs. I think it's even funnier that there have been legitimate people that have reached out to try to sponsor the show, and we just threw a free one out.
I know. That's what we do. We're being nice.
We're the most anti-podcast that exists on the internet.
That's what we do.
I love when people. I love when people reach out to, dude, you know what you should do? I'm like, I'm gonna promise you, we're not gonna do anything we don't want. I'm so sorry about that.
You know what you should do?
Thank you.
Yeah, I do know what we should do.
Thank you so much for your thoughtfulness. We don't do this for the same reasons as everyone else. We do this so I can spill beer on Ben's bar here.
Yes.
This is from Rusty Rail Brewing Company. All right. And it's called the Monster.
The Monster.
Yeah.
We should have done that with those guys last week when we were talking about the rivers. We should put it out for them, but just like this. You guys know any rivers?
This is actually what the water tastes like in the Mon. It's a double hazy IPA. Sorry, bud. This is an 8%er.
Jeez, what are we doing today?
You're going to be taking a nap. I know that. But Rusty Rail, I feel like we've done some. We might have done this one before.
I think we've probably done this one.
Look at him. Look at the little monster. It's a Monster if I ever seen it. Little guy.
What a cute little Monster.
Little cute little guy.
That's delightful.
Is it? I knew you'd like it.
It doesn't taste like it at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like an IPA, like a double hazy at all. Are we sure it's 8? Does it lose? So it's.
Yeah, for sure. When
it sits for too long?
When it converges, when the confluence with the Allegheny, it loses half its alcohol and becomes the Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, those are right? The Mon and the Allegheny?
Mon and Allegheny.
Yeah, they
form the Ohio.
All right, which one's the dirty one? The dirtier one.
I don't know. Fans, help us out. I don't know.
You know, when you see him, you're like, oh, buddy. Which one was I just in? Yeah. It's like.
I don't know. More debris?
I mean, I wouldn't jump in either one of them.
Yeah.
To be honest. But.
No, I've not swam in the river.
You ain't swam?
Not in the river.
What you doing today?
I'm not going swimming in the river.
Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go whip around them jet skis, bruh. Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
That.
I did make that announcement.
You did. Yeah. You had left it out there as a maybe something. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I'm watching the league, seeing how things are moving. Possibly this might be it. Turns out that you get a report after the fact. It's like, yeah, this is going to be, it's a little bit more serious than we had anticipated. So much so that he actually, I don't want to say medically retired. Is that a proper term? Retired because of it?
Yeah.
Could have, from what I read, gotten a surgery and figured it out. But one thing I will say that I read in the reports I thought was really, really cool is that he essentially gave back $30 million to the Saints organization.
Wow.
Like kept, I guess, $10 million of a signing bonus or a something. It was worked into some way of his contract. But instead of putting them in a worse position, because he was guaranteed 30 for the year.
Wow. Good for him.
He's like, no, man, you're good on that. Which is
honorable.
I'm like, you know what? Tip of the cap, Derek.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
A little bit. A godly man, Christian man. So it doesn't surprise me that he, got man of high character and integrity. I feel bad for him that it's ends this way. I think maybe just he never healed up from last year. Had some injuries last year. It's just one of those things. I think that's also one of the things that you can talk about potentially now that the Aaron, maybe he's maybe there's some debate about going there again. They have a really young QB room as well.
Yeah. They're
they're trying to entice him down there too. So maybe that's why just kind of wait. Now, again, just conspiracy theories. I don't know. But I thought Derek I thought he was one too that was a good player. Was really you always thought you had a chance with him when he was with the Raiders. Wish him nothing but the best. I know he's a family man. So it's tough. It's tough to see guys have to go out like that and not on their own accord. But sometimes things happen like that.
Yeah. And it's very interesting to me that he wouldn't choose to do this. Not that he wouldn't choose, but like that was an option. He just kind of weighed that because I remember when your elbow happened in 19, those are real conversations. When you're looking at that, hey, I could try this or not, because that was the doctor said to you was, you don't have to get this operated, but you ain't throwing nothing for the rest of your life, buddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just backyard football, which was fine too with me, but I just didn't feel like I was done. I felt like I had more in the tank. Maybe Derek doesn't. Maybe to have a surgery would require too much, and he had to sit out again this year, and it would be too much for him. And it's like, you know what? I'm just fine doing this.
Great career.
Yeah. So not knowing his exact story and what's going on, obviously it can't be easy. I'm sure a lot of conversation with his family, a lot of prayers, and I think he decided what was best for him and his family, and so we wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah. They got that kid from Louisville
Yeah, that's the one that we thought that the Steelers that they really liked too.
Supposedly was the most NFL ready quarterback in the draft.
Did they mean that because he was like the oldest one?
I think it probably it was a contributing factor.
I mean, he played for like 4 different colleges, I feel like.
I mean, he got that Harry Potter degree, man. I think he graduated as a Hufflepuff.
Yeah,
is what it was, I think.
That seems to be the new thing. Let's see how many places we can go play first.
Which is a crazy thing. That's a whole different podcast. I wish we could. No, because I'm so
rude. We talked. He's probably a great guy.
Yeah, I don't think that's not necessarily a negative thing, but when college becomes no longer a training ground for your future job and it becomes your current job, when you can make brother, if I could got paid $4 million in college, I'd have got the undergraduate. I'd been one of those fancy hats. I'd have never thrown that cap. Are you kidding me?
In school. Then we go, is there any other degrees I can get here?
Yeah, what else? What are you studying? Liberal arts. What is that? Don't worry about it, man. It's a 9-year degree.
It's just
undergraduate.
I don't know. It's again, I think we talked about it last week, and I'll keep preaching on. I think the NIL is just, there's some really good there. There's some good that comes with it, as we saw from our first round pick buying his mama van. But the fact of the matter, when guys are getting paid, it takes away from the love of the game because you're not getting up at 6:00 in the morning anymore because you have to. You're not getting up to go to 2-a-days because you have to, hitting the weight room or the running because you have to. It's like, I'm getting paid to do it, and if I don't want to go today, I might not go and I'll just transfer because coach can't really get mad at me. And we had to do it because we just loved it. I got a little food card. That's all I got. I got free food,
I will play for free food.
I know.
I will do that. Yeah.
But it just feels like there's just not, you're not playing for the same thing anymore.
No, dude, I totally agree, man. And it's such an interesting conversation. And we had a conversation with Will and Jack about that because they were in college in the thick of it. They got into college when it was first starting out. Right. And then graduated when it kind of blew up and became unregulated. So to get their point of view, that was like kind of when we were eating afterwards. But they had really cool insight on that too, man. But it's just an interesting thing to me because we're going back to the character thing and the issues on the field and the maturity conversations we were having with the GP situation is, how do you tell a guy, how do you correct a guy who feels like he's already being compensated regardless of how he does what he does. And I think the only way to do that, and it goes back to kind of what I was curious about with the day-to-day, is like I think the only way to do that in that regard would be to affect that young man's paycheck.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You can dip into someone's pocket, but even then in the league, you're still limited sometimes on how you can't just fine people for just to fine them because you want to.
Right.
It's got to be like conduct detrimental. Like there's still.
Yeah, it's like Michael Scott trying to fire Toby in The Office. Unique cause. It's because I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just there's some. I always thought that affecting rather than taking money from players, playing time.
Sure.
Because I think some guys care about their paycheck, but there's guys that care about wait, I don't get to start this game. I don't get to run out of the tunnel having my name introduced.
So you can still do that.
Yeah. You can do all you want.
But is that a double-edged sword? Does it do it, or does it all right, forget it then. I'll call my agent and we'll go to whatever.
Again, the game has changed so much from when I was there because we were so worried about letting our teammates down that we didn't even want to miss practice. You got hurt, you're like, man, I want to get back out to practice.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's like, man, you're trying to get guys out of the training room. Like, come on, man, let's go get back to practice. I'm not quite ready. I'm iffy. What is iffy?
Yeah, iffy.
What are we doing? You got iffy dart today? You got iffy darted?
What are we talking about? What is iffy? And that I will say it's a glimmer of hope in this next generation that I've seen, at least with the two that were here. It seems like they're hungry for it. And I think that's just young people in general. Sure. I think there was like a couple I don't know what generation we're on now, but there's a couple generations where it's like, man, they don't want to work, they don't care, they have a bad attitude. I think young people, the next wave of young people are kind of
back to working.
I think they're over it, man. They want something honest, they want something real. Everything's mass produced, everything's generated, everything's like they want something real, and there's nothing realer than hard work, man. And I think earning something, you can't AI generate that feeling. Mm-hmm. And I think they're in a generation, or they're being raised with all that stuff like in front of them. And the rebellion to it's going to be a return to kind of simplicity, hard work, honesty, something honest, something real, something authentic. And we've seen that even in the faith communities. Like we're just kind of over, like, man, just get, like over the rock show, production of church. Like give us real people,
give us
pursuing God, serving others, and in the Word. And so I think that's holistic in everything, and I salt in these two. They're hungry to work, dude.
No doubt. Yeah, let's go. Like they don't seem like the type. Again, they could have fooled us.
Yeah, they might be really good actors.
They might be, but they don't seem like the type that are gonna. If you get on about something, yes sir, I got you. Like I'm gonna work. Like they seem like Steelers.
Yeah.
Like what got passed to me and what I was hoping passed down. But yeah, I'm excited for that because like you said, there was a generation there that was just like, I don't really want to work. I want things given to me instead of working to get things. And so I'm hoping that, like you said, hopefully the whole generation is there's a new generation of like working for things.
Right.
And I know these two are going to work for things. And I'd love to, be able to talk and I'll check out the other guys that were drafted, see if they're the same way. But excited to kind of see them. I wish them nothing but the best. I texted with Will the other day and just asked him how things were going. And he said that, the practice was good. It's kind of one of those things that when you get to rookie mini camps or even OTAs and stuff, it's like, it's not real football yet. There's no pads. It's like, I want to get in there. You're itching to get going. So I think he's itching to get going. The veterans were going to start showing up. And so I think he's really ready for that.
When does that start? OTAs?
Starting soon, I think.
Whatever. Yeah. Ev, you know this probably.
I don't know. Hey, Evan.
Sheesh.
You're welcome.
What you got there?
Doesn't look good at all.
What you got there, Rat? Yeah.
Hello, football and family.
Hey. Man of the people. The people's champ. Chef Evan.
You need one of those buttons.
I got one on here somewhere.
No.
Evan, I told people that you got recognized in the grocery store.
I did.
You want to give that guy a shout out?
I didn't catch his name, but shout out to the man in the white Steelers polo at the Market District.
You can't hear this, but I just hit him with it.
Good.
Chef Evan!
Just keep going.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah, dude.
You're good. Okay, so
Before you get started, can you sign this real quick?
No.
Let me you have a Sharpie over there?
I got a Sharpie.
No.
Can you sign my sandwich?
No.
Come on,
Sure,
man.
you can't eat Sharpie.
It's for the kids.
Yeah, you can.
It's for the kids, man.
They can't eat it either.
Well, no, it's
You eat glue.
Maybe.
You never ate glue?
I don't probably. I don't think there's many things that I haven't eaten. So that one that Ben's about to indulge in is a
was that?
pesto
That
truffle,
better not be tomato.
pesto truffle.
roasted red pepper,
Hey, you got him.
and fresh mozzarella.
Good save.
And then the second one, which is right here, is a sriracha pickle chicken with it's got like a scallion cream cheese on top and then some arugula and greens underneath and some pickles in there. I know you're not a huge pickle fan.
Yes,
Question.
Ben.
Yes.
Do we like siracha?
I do.
I do like siracha.
It depends on the
You're not
brand.
a
I'm not a big
fan of
sriracha
it.
fan.
What about
I
it?
think fake hot sauce.
Fake in what way?
It's not real.
I think
deep.
it's got a good, for me, it's got a very good amount of heat, and it's also got it's got other flavors in there too, like the garlic and some onion. Like,
Yeah, it's not my first.
Very flavorful.
I'm not reaching for it first. I do like it with Asian flavors. It works good. Like I'll
Yeah.
throw it on ramen or something like that. But what do you do on Asian food for hot sauce?
So to me, it's like Red Hot. Like you guys like Red Hot?
I do like red hot.
You gotta. It's for the use case. You talking about Frank's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Frank's Red Hot sauce, it's fine, but it's not my choice of hot sauce. It's not a real hot sauce. Like I'd rather have
Depends on what-
Tabasco.
Yeah, Tabasco's great.
Yeah, not me. No.
Well, you can't
like-
handle it.
That's what I mean. Like your palate is like, I've multiple
Exquisite.
times I've tried to
Yeah, Ben's putting gasoline on
burn
on chicken
Ben
wings.
out
He's
with
like,
food and it doesn't work.
He grows his own pepper.
He said, you said that was hot?
Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
So that's cute.
Like,
Yeah.
I almost had to go to the
Hot for
hospital.
who? Yeah, those are Cheerios, Evan.
And then
how are those?
the third sandwich, which is this one here, is a habanero barbecue with
hot.
with pineapple. Probably not. It's not.
You don't do hot stuff?
No, not at all.
no.
He can't even stand it.
What's hot for you?
I think it ruins the flavor. Honestly, like if I'm sitting there and I'm eating
Pickles.
a fresh, I love pickles. If I'm eating like a fresh
Such a genuine response.
Pico, I do. Eating pico de gallo. And I enjoy the freshness of it. And then you catch like a jalapeno or a seed. Like,
oh, it's delightful.
That ruins my whole thing.
But what if you're like going to get hot wings and the goal is like, hotter the better, bro?
Oh, sweet. I get garlic parmesan.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I don't do the hot.
No.
I can't. It just ruins the meal for me.
I get it. Listen.
Because you can't handle it.
That's true. I'm not denying.
You know what the best meal in the world is? The
What's
one
that?
you enjoy.
Correct.
So you eat what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where, like, if I'm going to sit down and enjoy this meal,
At the point.
Pickles on us.
where I don't want to be.
I got nothing to prove in my food anymore.
You got to save this palate.
These tots seem like they're not your average tots. What are we doing
Not.
here?
They're truffle garlic tots.
And I knew they would be.
Because truffle oil is
My
delicious
guy.
as well.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. All right. Do you have a question for Evan?
I do. Evan,
Yes.
2 questions.
Okay.
First question. Why'd you put pickle on my sandwich? Second question.
Valid. It is there.
Second, what do you make of the George Pickens trade? From a Yinzer perspective, please.
All right. I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit on this one. And the pickle is on the sandwich because it adds to the flavor. So whether you're eating the pickle on there or not, there's a little bit of juice still on that bun that kind of, it's just how the sandwich is made.
Okay.
George Pickens, he's a great talent. He is very good at what he does, and he is. What's so funny? What did I do now? Is there something on my face?
No, dude. It's just
No, listen, go.
I do. I think he's a good talent, but I just don't think that he was ready to be a team player. I think he was more concerned with himself, and I don't know.
But did you not want to see him on the field with DK? You didn't want to see that?
I did, but I mean, it's not there anymore, and I think that's one less distraction. You don't think?
No, I think potentially, yeah. But my question is, did you make your team better or worse on the field? Are you building for next year now? Is that what we're doing? We don't care for this year?
We got all those draft picks in our pockets, so at this point, yeah, I don't know. I do know.
What do you know?
But you know or you don't know?
I do know. I think George Pickens would have made a difference this year in a positive manner for the most part. But I do think that his shenanigans will also, set us back again.
I think it's a culture win. I think it's a culture win.
Addition by subtraction.
And at the very least, you're gonna not have some ridiculous plays, but I think you're gonna have to figure a way. Your job is to figure a way to compensate for that, right? But we're not going to be talking about it anymore.
The attitude in the locker room needed to change, and it had to start with someone.
Culture win.
And the quicker we get back to in-your-face football and just playing hard and making routine plays routinely.
Oh, there it is.
Jeez,
you did it. You did it on purpose.
Oh, I didn't.
You did it on purpose.
I did.
Where your eyelids at?
My eyelids?
They still on.
Oh yeah. I thought you meant because I'm chubby. Well, when I first got
was that a fat joke the whole time when Tomlin talking about the eyelids?
I don't know. No, well, when I got my license initially when I was 16 years old, I was so happy that I got my license. And when I smile, because I have naturally chubby cheeks, my eyes were closed. And the woman was like, okay, we have to do this again, but don't smile this time because your eyes were closed. Can you imagine that as a 16-year-old? Like, I just got my license. I'm so excited. She's like, don't smile. So it's just like.
That's
devastating.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I apologize for making a Tomlin joke and, hitting an insecurity from your 16-year-old self, man.
Just catching a riff, you know how it is.
I get it.
You're throwing them up, and I'm
hitting them out of the park.
Oh,
teamwork.
Man.
All right. Well, thank you, Evan, very much. Thanks for your insight.
Thank you.
Thank you, family, for tuning in. We look forward to seeing y'all next week, hopefully with some more better, happier Steeler news. We'll know who our schedule is. We still may not know who our quarterback is. Well, we know, but we don't know if we have a different one.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe someone else will get traded. Maybe someone will get signed. We don't really know. But until then, we'll see you when we see you, or we'll see you another time.